Hello, welcome to Life Matters. I'm your host, Brendan O'Connell. Well, we often look at the broad mosaic of the Right to Life movement, and also there are many topics that came to my revelation as I started this show over 20 years ago. And today we have a distinguished guest who's been a guest here in the past. He worked at the Harvard-MIT Statistical Project with students from both Harvard and MIT. And he's from the distinguished Central Catholic High School in Pittsburgh. He also matriculated at Dartmouth College and got a PhD at Stanford University. Well, welcome, Dr. Michael New.
Thanks for having me. Much appreciated.
Now, Michael, I forgot to mention, you're a senior associate scholar at the Charlotte Loescher Institute. And I wanted to start off with pregnancy help centers. They've been under attack ever since the Dobbs decision in late June of 2022. Can you tell us what's been going on there and how are the pregnancy help centers rebutting the attack by the pro-aborts?
Well, the one thing that pregnancy centers always do and should do is just highlight the great work they do in terms of helping women in need. This past December, the Loescher Institute, the pro-life think tank where I'm a senior associate scholar, we released a study on kind of the impact of these pro-life pregnancy help centers. We did a survey. We tried to reach out to all 2,750 pro-life pregnancy centers in the United States and just tally up, the women they saw, the services they provided, materials they gave out, and the results were impressive. Pro-life pregnancy help centers saw over 970,000 new clients in 2022. That's like close to 1 million people. And they provided over $360 million or nearly $360 million worth of goods and services. So everything from providing strollers, cribs, diapers, to parenting classes, to medical help, to job placement help. They really do provide a very impressive range of services to women in need. And this is something I think everybody should applaud, whether you're pro-life, pro-choice, or somewhere in between. The fact they're helping and seeing this many people is a great thing.
And what about, you hear the clamor by the pro-aborts that, well, they're not medical facilities. What do you make of that? And of course, many of these pregnancy help centers now have ultrasounds. Can you speak to that a little bit?
Well, first, sure. I mean, we look at kind of what percentage of pregnancy centers offer different services. We found over 80%, more than 80% offer ultrasounds. So that's a great figure. I want to give a shout out to the Knights of Columbus. They have really made it a priority to fundraise on this and have helped pay for and subsidize ultrasounds at many pro-life pregnancy help centers. So that's a great thing. There's very good research which does show that if a pregnant woman does get a chance to view an ultrasound of her son or daughter in utero, she is much more likely to go ahead and carry that pregnancy to term. So that's a great development. And there are medical professionals who do work at pro-life pregnancy help centers. Not everybody has a medical professional on staff, but many do, and many are willing to do referrals to places that do have physicians. So they're becoming more professionalized. I'm on the board of the Northwest Center, which is a pro-life pregnancy center in the DC area. Our current director has a degree in social work. She's very good at assisting people in need. That's what she does for a living. So they are becoming more professionalized and do again offer a very impressive range of services to women, youth, and families in need.
Uh-huh. And do you think that the abortion industry is succeeding in trying to misportray what pregnancy help centers do?
Not really. I mean, I think that first off, when you look at surveys, I mean, Knights of Columbus has done a survey on this, and over 90% of Americans support what pro-life pregnancy centers do. I think even a lot of your kind of average pro-abortion person, if they heard about a group that helps pregnant women carry pregnancies to term, they would even applaud that. But you do have some elected officials that are very beholden to Planned Parenthood and very beholden to groups support legal abortion, who do speak out against them and do try to pass laws to kind of limit, hamper, and undermine their ability to reach out to pregnant women. They've not enjoyed much success. They did pass a law in Illinois like that, but there were some good legal efforts by our friends at the Thomas More Legal Center that did succeed in arranging for that law to not be enforced. So again, they are trying to stop them, but I don't think they've been all that successful.
Now, here in Massachusetts, the legislature, which is very liberal and pro-abort, just before Charlie Baker left, finished his term as governor, his second term, they put forth legislation that that would be $1 million, taxpayer-funded $1 million to besmirch pregnancy help centers here in Massachusetts. What do you make of that? And is that going on all around the country, or are there states that are pro-life that are helping out with taxpayer-funded money to help the pregnancy centers?
Well, I mean, I think what's happening in Massachusetts, it's just awful that they would use taxpayer dollars to harass these centers that are trying to help women in need. Again, I think that we'll obviously see kind of what happens there in the future. You basically see these efforts in politically liberal states. As I said before, Illinois did pass a law that thankfully is not being enforced due to legal action by the Thomas More Society. But thankfully, a lot of conservative states, they are trying to find ways to help pregnancy centers. In many cases, they're eligible for government grants. In many cases, people can get tax reductions or tax credits if they make donations. In some cases, Texas funds an alternatives to abortion program to the tune of multi-million dollars a year. Some of that money goes to pro-life pregnancy help centers. So in conservative states, the government is funding them. I think that's a better idea than funding. It's good to fund things that affirm life, like pregnancy help centers, instead of institutions that destroy life, like Planned Parenthood.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Now, I'd like to move on to what has, since the Dobbs decision, which was in June, I think June 24th of 2022, have lives been saved from repealing Roe versus Wade? Not repealing, but getting rid of Roe versus Wade?
Yeah, the reversal of Roe v. Wade has certainly saved a lot of lives. We have data, very clearly that shows that abortion numbers have fallen quite a lot in those states that have gone ahead and passed strong protective pro-life laws. Now, some of our opponents argue that the reason for these abortion declines are because women are going to other states, or they're self-inducing, or they're obtaining chemical abortion posts of the male. But we've had a year and a half since Dobbs, roughly, and we have some very good data on births. And one thing I often tell pro-life audiences is that abortions can be hard to count. Again, women go out of state, they self-induce perhaps, they get abortion posts of the male, but babies are easy to count. I don't know if you've ever seen a baby, but they cry, they make a lot of noise. The government does a pretty good job, counting babies and counting kids who are born. And we have good evidence that there are more children being born in those states that have enacted strong pro-life laws. I'll give you a couple examples. We have two studies on Texas. Texas actually was enforcing a Heartbeat Act before Dobbs. The Texas Heartbeat Act, which protected the preborn after 6 weeks gestation, took effect September of 2021. So we have some good data from Texas. And I did a study through the Loesch Institute, and there's another study that came out in the Journal of the American Medical Association. We both found that the Texas Heartbeat Act is saving roughly 1,000 babies every month, that there are roughly 1,000 more children being born every month in Texas because of the Texas Heartbeat Act. So we see good evidence from Texas, that more children are being born because a good, strong pro-life law was put in place. This past summer, another study came out through a think tank looking at kind of a wider range of states. And they found that, again, those states that passed strong pro-life laws, like Texas, like Mississippi, in the aftermath of Dobbs, they saw a larger birth rate increase than those states where abortion was legal. And they found bigger birth rate increases in those states that are kind of far away from out-of-state abortion facilities. So they found kind of bigger birth rate increases in places like Texas, Mississippi. They did in places like Missouri, where there's out-of-state facilities that are pretty close by. So again, good birth data from Texas and other states shows that these post-Dobbs pro-life laws are in fact protecting women and saving lives.
Well, some statistics, though, show that there's been a slight increase year to year of abortion since Dobbs. Is that because of the availability of the chemical abortion, or do you think that those statistics might not be correct?
I think there's a chance they might not be correct. I think we have to take a wait and see approach. The group that kind of took the lead on giving us recent or updated abortion data post Dobbs is the Society for Family Planning. To be honest, I had not heard of this group until after the Dobbs decision. They don't really have any real track record of providing abortion data in the past. In the past, we've gotten abortion data from Guttmacher and the CDC. So a lot of the data you see comes from this group that, in my opinion, just doesn't have a lot of experience. And the data they come out with may not be accurate. And I can also talk about methodology, some of the problems they have. I mean, they're trying to compare post-Dobbs data to pre-Dobbs data. But they only look at 2 months of pre-Dobbs data. So that's really not that much. I think if you're going to look at a year's worth of pre-Dobbs data and compare it to a year's worth of post-Dobbs data, that's useful. We only have 2 months of pre-Dobbs data. That can be weak. That might be misleading. But even so, one thing I would say is that it's possible that abortion numbers are going up. That's just possible that the increases in pro-abortion states are just kind of outpacing the declines in abortion in pro-life states. We see the Biden administration has made chemical abortion pills, more available. They continued the post-pandemic the post-pandemic policy, I should say, of allowing women to obtain chemical abortion drugs without an in-person medical exam. I think that's obviously failed unborn children, but very poor public health as well. Other states are making abortion policy more permissive in the past 5 years. Illinois, Maine, Rhode Island have all started to cover abortion through their state Medicaid programs. Illinois repealed their pro-life parental involvement law. Massachusetts, where we are right now, they weakened their pro-life parental involvement law. So again, you do have a lot of policy changes in liberal states that made abortion policy more permissive. So if abortion numbers are going up, it might be due to that. It might just be the gains in pro-abortion states, sadly, are exceeding their abortion reductions in pro-life states.
Mm-hmm. Wow. Well, I guess we'll find out as time goes along when we get full year figures and that sort of thing. What was the name of that outfit again that is supposedly?
It's called the Society for Family Planning.
The Society
They launched,
for Family Planning.
Yeah, they're a pro-contraception, pro-abortion group. Honestly, I had not heard of them until after Dobbs. They launched what they call the We Count Project. And again, they don't really have a lot of experience yet doing abortion data. They're doing a survey. I don't think they're getting 100%. I think they're extrapolating. So again, there's a chance that some of this data, which the media is taking at complete face value, they release an update. The media just reported it as gospel truth. They don't talk to me. They don't talk to other people who are pro-life with a background in math or statistics. So it's kind of frustrating, but time will tell. But the important thing is pro-life laws we are passing are doing a lot of good. Obviously we have our work cut out for us. We're not promised a smooth glide path to victory, but the incremental things we do, and even the big things we do, are having an impact.
Oh, that's good to hear. Now, I also wanted to ask you about the ballot measures. The other side, the pro-abortion side, is able to throw a lot more money at, I'll call it soundbite television ads, and influence people like in Kansas and Michigan and now Ohio. Could you speak to that? And what do you think, how can the pro-life side counter that so that their messaging is more influential than the pro-abortion messaging?
Yeah, it's tough. I mean, people who support legal abortion have a lot more money than pro-lifers do. Abortion is a multi-billion-dollar industry in this country, and places that do abortions, that invest in abortion, heavily put a lot of material resources in these ballot propositions, and we were outspent everywhere. That said, we have to fight this. It's not going to be easy, but it looks like the other side might put abortion on the ballot in as many as 12 states in 2024. So our work is really cut out for us. The one bit of messaging, I think that we should emphasize more is taxpayer funding. I think that in Michigan and Ohio, we emphasize parental rights a lot. That's not a bad argument, but, I would say that teen pregnancy rates, teen abortion rates have fallen quite a lot since the 70s, 80s, and 90s. I'm not sure that concerns parents today the way it may have concerned, parents 20, 30, 40 years ago. I would hit on the fact that if you put abortion in the state constitution, there's a good chance the state Medicaid programs have to pay for abortion. That's going to be your tax dollars, my tax dollars, other people's tax dollars paying for it. I think that's a strong argument. Most people don't want their taxpayer dollars paying for abortion. So again, that's how I would kind of counter these in the future. But again, our work is cut out for us.
And who are these people? I understand, I heard that in Michigan there were like 5 or 10 people that donated tremendous amounts of money, one of them being Bloomberg, I believe. Do you know who some of these other people are that are these wealthy people, that, rich old men, I'll put it to you that way, that are
You know, I
funding?
can't name names, but a lot of the money does come from out of state. I mean, a lot of money that's in these ballot propositions is coming from out of state. But I don't want, I mean, pro-lifers need to be concerned and aware of this, but I don't want us to despair. As I said before, there may be as many as 12 states where abortions on the ballot in 2024. But there are some of these elections I think are winnable. Give you some examples. Florida, because of their constitution, the other side has to get 60% to win, not 50%, 60%, 6-0. So usually when we run effective campaigns, we've kept the other side under 60. You know, the other side did not break 60 in Kansas or Michigan or Ohio. So I think we can keep them under 60 in Florida if we run a good campaign. They also want to put abortion in the Constitution in places like Nebraska, South Dakota, Missouri, and Arkansas. These are very red states. These are states where President Trump won in 2020 by more than 15 percentage points. So these are very conservative states. So these are not states that, you know, embrace legal abortion. Again, our work is cut out for us, but I think in Florida we can win. I think in some of these conservative states we can win. It's going to require efforts, require money, but I think some of these fights are winnable for us. So I think we need to really, you know, do proper diligence, but we shouldn't despair. You know, again, we're not going to win every election everywhere. I'm skeptical we'll win in Maryland, my home state. I'm skeptical about New York, but some of these conservative states, you know, I think we can win.
Well, I mean, Kansas, I think I read somewhere, which was shortly after the Dobbs decision, it was in 2022, I think it was 80 to 90% of the money came from out of state. Well, won't they just do the same thing in some of these other states like Nebraska, or that you've mentioned before? They'll just come in with loads of money and put up these soundbite ads and just pummel the people with the ads over and over again?
That's a possibility. I mean, I would say Kansas, you know, the pro-life team, I think, was a little bit blindsided, to be honest. I don't think they really anticipated, you know, the onslaught. You know, I mean, the pro-life movement's not rich, but we can raise money for things. You know, money is important, but it's not everything. You know, I think we can run effective campaigns. We just have to be diligent. I mean, one parallel I would draw is, you know, supporters of same-sex marriage. They lost a bunch of times in the ballot box. They probably lost over 30 times straight. But they are persistent, and I disagree with them. But in a way, I do admire their persistence. You know, they probably lost over 30 direct democracy elections before they finally started winning. Pro-lifers have to be that persistent too. You know, we may suffer some setbacks and disappointments. We just have to keep at it. Again, I think that, you know, we have good arguments. I think when people start to see the impact of what's happened in Ohio and Michigan, if parental involvement laws in those states are struck down, if taxpayers in those states have to pay for abortion through the state Medicaid program, that's going to make, you know, the other side, you know, look dishonest. It's going to give us some good ammunition. You know, again, we have our work cut out for us. It won't be easy, but we shouldn't despair.
In Ohio, where you needed 50% plus one vote to change the Constitution, could we, the pro-life side, put up a ballot that rectifies the situation where we just need 50% plus one vote?
Well, we could just run our own pro-life ballot proposition. But, you know, to be honest, since we recently failed the ballot box, I'm not sure that would necessarily be the best solution for us. We may have to go with kind of a piecemeal approach where maybe we explicitly protect preborn children after the second trimester, or we, you know, put a parental involvement law in the state constitution, or we prevent taxpayer funding for abortion and put that in the state constitution. We may have to do kind of a piecemeal approach, an incremental approach in these states. We'll see what happens. I don't think we can just flip an outcome. I think the other side will show up with a lot of money to defeat us. But on a kind of narrow issue about stopping late-term abortion, protecting parental involvement rights, or I should say protecting parental involvement law, stopping taxpayer funding of abortion, I think we could win a direct democracy campaign on things like that in Ohio and maybe some other states too.
Switching back to the chemical abortion pill, that sort of thing, Are there statistics yet on how dangerous it is in comparison to, say, a surgical abortion?
Yeah, absolutely.
Are there statistics out there, or are we waiting to find out that chemical abortion is actually more dangerous than other types of abortion?
We have very good data that shows that chemical abortions are in fact more dangerous than surgical abortions. We have data, I think there have been separate studies, one looking at California Medicaid patients, and one, I think, data from one of the Scandinavian countries, I think it was either Finland or Sweden, that showed that the complication rate for chemical abortions was 4 times higher than the complication rate for surgical abortions. So, and this was a well done survey, I mean, a study. It wasn't, piecemeal. This was comprehensive data from California Medicaid. Every woman that obtained a chemical abortion versus every woman that obtained a surgical abortion. And using, again, a comprehensive data set, the authors very clearly showed that the complication rate was, 4 times higher. The FDA has collected data on chemical abortions. I think there have been over like 20 women have died because of chemical abortions. There have been thousands of complications that have been recorded. So we do have good data from both the U.S. and elsewhere that these chemical abortion pills are obviously fatal to unborn children, but do pose some pretty serious health risks to women as well.
And the Scandinavian countries, particularly I think Finland is used a lot, they track you from birth to death. So that's for someone to analyze.
Finland is a very good health registry, but really tracks everybody. And again, the good thing is it's comprehensive. It's not picking and choosing volunteers. They have a very comprehensive data set of women from Finland who have undergone abortions, and we have other good data from Finland as well. We do know that women who obtain abortions in Finland are frankly more likely to die at a younger age than women who carry pregnancies to term. So it's a rich data set, and I think we've been able to use to show that the health risks of abortion to women.
Now, I noticed pro-aborts are changing their tune. They're now calling it reproductive rights or reproductive freedom, I've heard, on these ads that are played on the radio and mostly on television. How do we counter that, reproductive freedom?
I don't know, but it's interesting. I mean, NARAL keeps changing their name. They were once the National Association for the Repeal of the Abortion Laws. They became, national, I forget what, National Reproductive Rights Action League. They became the NARAL Pro-Choice America. They keep changing the name, but it's like rearranging the deck chairs on the Titanic. Abortion is wrong. It's ugly. People see that. It doesn't matter what kind of flashy name or flashy slogan you trot out. People see through it. So, they keep changing their name, again and again. I don't think people are going to buy what they're trying to sell. Again, I think that pro-life is, very strong and very solid. It really, shows what we stand for. We believe in life, the sanctity of life, the innocence of life, the value of life. I think, pro-life is a good moniker, and I wear that proudly.
Mm-hmm. I see. Was there anything else that has come across I know you had a recent article in National Review Online. What were you trying to outline there or inform?
Yeah, I just want to highlight, every election is important, but 2024 is very important. I joke, every election can't be the most important election, but some are more important than others. And the 2024 cycle is very important. Obviously, we have a presidential election. Your viewers may not agree about who, the Republicans should nominate, but whoever the Republican nominee is will certainly be much better on pro-life issues than Joe Biden. Executive branch appointments are important. Judicial nominations are important. We need to do proper diligence. We have the entire House of Representatives is up for re-election. A third of the Senate is. We need good pro-life people in there to protect the Hyde Amendment and, push good pro-life policies forward. And also, as I mentioned earlier, the state ballot propositions are important. I think that pro-lifers need to notch some victories. The other side has won 7 straight times. That said, one thing I do point out is that even though they've notched these wins, they've not succeeded in repealing or striking down any existing post-Dobbs pro-life law. So all the laws we passed post-Dobbs are still standing right now. But that could change. Again, the other side wants to, run these direct democracy campaigns in Arkansas, in South Dakota, in Nebraska, in Missouri, states where we do have strong pro-life laws that are protecting, unborn children right now. If those laws get struck down, we could see many more abortions take place. These laws are saving thousands of lives, every year. We need to, notch some wins. We just can't let the other side run roughshod all over us. This election cycle, both the federal level and the state level, very important. All hands have to be on deck.
Mm-hmm. Well, Dr. Michael New, thank you so much for coming on the show today and informing the public of what's really going on out there in the world of birth and abortion and pro-life laws and pro-abort efforts. We really appreciate it. Thank you so much.
Thanks, Abby. Much appreciated. Keep the great work.
And folks, we hope you found today's show to be unique, informative, content-rich, truthful, and thought-provoking. Thanks for watching and listening. My name's Brendan O'Connell, your friend for life.